Good evening, everyone. Episode 38, No Limits, Mike and Stace.
Hi, y'all.
Instead of No Limits, Mike and Stace, we probably should have called it Backyard Podcast. Because we do most of our podcasts in the backyard.
When we can, for sure.
Except when it's wintertime.
Which is 6 months of the year.
Then that would just be ridiculous.
Yeah, but we really didn't do the podcast very much this past winter.
No, we took a little time off.
Yeah.
But now we're back at it. Sitting in the backyard. It's nice outside. Drink in hand. Kev rolling in the grass.
Yep.
Oh, that's what we were going to discuss, too.
Mm-hmm.
So we always talk about our pets, but we actually never formally introduced our pets. Kevin, our 8-pound Chihuahua that rides with us.
Yeah.
I think we might have.
Yeah, I think everybody knows
introduced Kevin.
Yeah.
Before. We have a little black cat named Belle. She can't be more than 4 pounds.
Yeah. Tiny little thing.
And she is full grown. She is an acrobat. She jumps 3 feet in the air, lands on the railing, and just walks on the railing.
Yeah.
Jumps on the back of your chair. Then we have our other cat, Ted.
Yep.
Who is the exact opposite of 3 pounds.
Yep.
He is a freaking monster.
He's probably 30 pounds.
He's got to be half Maine Coon.
Yeah.
He is a big guy.
Yeah, he's very majestic.
And he is very long.
Yep.
Got big old fluffy fur. And he's just a big, gentle guy.
Yep, very gentle soul.
Wouldn't hurt a fly except for a bug.
Yep.
He is an awesome bug catcher out of the air.
Yeah, he is. Super entertaining to watch.
They're all named after our topic of the night. They're all named after serial killers.
Yep.
And it just so happens, not planned, their initials
Or BTK.
BTK. BTK killer. So, Ted, obviously, Ted Bundy.
Obviously. Obviously.
Belle. What was
I
that?
believe that woman's name was Belle Maud.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Belle Maud, I believe so. And then Kevin.
I don't remember. He's not a notorious serial killer.
He's not a real famous serial killer.
No.
He's
But
a
I like
famous
the
Chihuahua,
name.
but not a famous serial killer.
And I was like, I wonder if there are any serial killers named Kevin. And, in fact, there is. So, there you go.
There you go. So, maybe a little sick and twisted, but, that's kind of how we roll sometimes. Yeah. Name our animals after serial killers. Funny thing is, we don't really tell people that in public. I do. You don't.
I don't, no.
I don't care.
Well, we're big horror buffs.
Yeah.
True crime.
True crime, documentaries, horror. Yeah, we are. So it fits.
For sure.
Definitely fits. But what we wanted to talk about today, and just general discussion, is, I guess it's in 2 parts. We'll do your part first. Don't look at me like that.
Oh, how many serial killers do you think in your lifetime you will come in contact with in one form or another? So be it like you're standing in line at the grocery store, you're standing in line at a gas station, or eating at a restaurant, what have you.
And I imagine if you travel, your odds are greater. Like us, we travel quite a bit.
Yeah. So I do have a little bit of a statistic.
Oh, she's whipping out the piece of paper. Oh boy!
I was curious.
Can you read your writing?
Barely, but yes. My writing is atrocious. The average person walks by 36 murderers in their lifetime. Now,
36 murderers in their lifetime.
Is that because I feel like a murderer potentially could be different than like a serial killer.
Yeah, definitely, because a murderer, I mean, you could, kill somebody with your car because you were drunk. You're a murderer.
And it's definitely not obviously malicious, premeditated. shouldn't still happen. Regardless, I see you looking over there like, obviously. It's on, okay, so it's on a different level as
definitely.
serial type.
Well, considering I'm willing to venture that most serial killers aren't even caught.
They're not. And I feel like
so,
that is why it came up with, good old Googs came up with that answer as opposed to a definitive answer for the question regarding serial killers. It didn't specify that, it just said murders.
Yeah,
Statistically, though, that's still kind of high, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that is. I mean,
but then does that make it even higher for us since we travel so much?
I would think it would, because I mean, you think about some of the desolate places that we've stopped for gas and even for lunch and all that. So yeah, I would say
it's just a curious topic.
I wonder where the most serial killers are.
Did not think to ask Googs that.
Because that would probably determine more on the lines of, I guess our percentage of running into them.
True.
If they're more on the, say, the East Coast, than the central part of the country or, western part, wherever.
I don't know.
Because we've definitely been more places on the east.
Well, what goes on out in Yellowstone?
Yes, a lot does.
I mean, according to that program, obviously it's,
Dramatized. But, yeah. I do wonder. I would be... Like, you could never know that number.
No, it can't ever... No, because it would be changed so frequently. But I guess, just makes you wonder. Like things that make you go,
Actually, the government probably could know that number. They keep track of everything you fucking do.
Yeah, but don't you think if they kept track of that, they'd be able to catch them?
Well, once they figure out that they are a serial killer, they probably go back and see.
Most of them lie. Some of them.
All of them lie.
Well, obviously, but what I meant was whenever they're finally admitting. Right? Whenever they're finally sitting down, they're being, talked to by the police or whatever, most of them lie. Sometimes they embellish. Sometimes they say, like, oh, I killed this person. That person, they take credit for ones that they never even did.
Yeah, yep.
Or there are some that, like, they don't even tell. Maybe there are some that they just want to keep to themselves.
I wonder how many they forget that they do.
Well, depending on what the number is, I imagine that, and also over how many years. Because if you're just able to get away with it for like a handful of years, right? I would assume the longer.
I don't know. I think I would be curious to know if they forget any. And I guess it would probably be, why they're doing it. They may or may not forget some. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I haven't come across the answer to that in any of my books or programs. So.
We should go ask that Long Island dude.
Who? Which?
The Long Island serial killer. He's still in prison. I can't remember his name.
Oh. Was he like infamous?
He was a family man. Killing a bunch of people.
It wasn't Gary Ridgway.
No.
No, he was. Wasn't he like Illinois or something?
I think so. Yeah.
Didn't we discuss him last? Or we've discussed him before? Just because it's so. I mean, it's just.
Was he the BTK?
I think so. Let me hold, please.
Go ahead and break out the Google.
Googs.
While you're Googling that, look up the Long Island.
So...
If you're going to speak it into there, you got to say Long Island.
Dennis Rader.
Mm-hmm.
He's 80 years old now, by the way.
Mm.
In case anybody was curious.
Wow.
He's an American serial killer who murdered at least 10 people in Wichita and Park City, Kansas between 74 and 91.
Kansas would be an easy place to hide bodies.
Although he occasionally killed or attempted to kill men and children, he typically targeted women. Okay. Well, he was a strangler, so wasn't it bind, torture?
Yeah, bind, torture,
and
kill. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so who am I looking up now? The Long Island.
Yeah, Long Island serial killer.
All right. Bear with us, folks. Oh, it comes right up.
Mm-hmm. Because he's still in prison.
Why don't I know this person? Long Island. Rex Heuermann.
There's your picture of him?
Once unnerved. You want to see a picture of him?
Yeah.
Here.
Yep, that's him.
Okay, well, I don't really... So there was a Netflix program called Gone Girls that was about this guy.
Oh, really?
Guess what I'm watching?
You will be watching. Have to report back on our next podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, yeah, his name's Rex Heuermann.
There you go.
He is the alleged Long Island serial killer. He's back in the spotlight following this Netflix docuseries. All right, well, thanks.
I knew he was still around. We had to go interview him. Interview him for our podcast.
Well, that's one I never heard of, so there you go. Kind of shocking.
Now you can watch it.
Yep. Which now leads us to the second part, which is your question.
Yes. How many dead bodies do you think we've ridden past? Oh, wait, you did research on that too?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
But I couldn't find stats of how many. I couldn't find any stats. Nothing would come. Nothing was clickable for me to, because I think that's another one that's just like uncountable.
Yeah.
It's completely dependent. Like if you live in a bubble in a tiny town,
yeah,
you're probably not going to drive by any.
Probably never. But, you know.
If you travel a lot.
Think about just our trip out west and back. Oh, I guarantee we had to, you know.
That was very desolate, and at times, I missed the city.
I'm going to say we at least a dozen. We had to have.
Oh my God.
Because a lot of the places that we did, you know, travel through, there was nothing.
Miles.
What better place? And then, no offense to any Native Americans listening to this, we rode through an Indian reservation.
Yeah. And that too was miles and miles and miles. It seemed somewhat desolate as well.
Yes.
It's a different world out there.
Very different. So I'm very curious, you know, how many.
Yeah. Well, no stats on that.
I wonder. My mind's going now because I'm wondering how I could.
And I also wonder too, because if you think about it,
stats.
how would they even answer that? Because would they count, like, just in general? Like because obviously you're going to drive past,
You have to know what to look up, I think, because.
Well, we all know sometimes I'm not a good Googler.
Yeah, you're not a good Googler sometimes.
No.
But if you think, they do know every place
that they've found.
That they found. So if you start with that.
All right, well.
If you looked up, picked one road.
Sure.
And said how many bodies were found on the side of X road.
Yeah.
I bet we could do that.
Like the train station. The way to the train station.
Yes.
Another Yellowstone reference.
I still have the route that we took.
In
you
have to sit
Ride
down
Planner.
With the tablet.
Yeah, and write down the roads. And then...
yeah, but I'm assuming a lot of those places are so freaking desolate that they're I mean, they're not going to be found. So
Yeah,
there
I
are
think
probably a lot more than we even can imagine.
Well, yeah, I definitely think there's more than what even would come back, but
Yeah,
it would just be
like the stats of what already has been.
just look at that. What was that? Pepini Petito, whatever. Which
Gabby Petito.
She was,
She was out there.
She was out there. People rode past her, didn't know.
Gabby.
Yeah.
God love her.
I couldn't remember her name, but so
Brian Laundrie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. Can't do that from my work computer though.
No, you'd have to use your phone.
That would probably not be
It
wise.
would not be. No. I mean, it is just research, however.
It is. I get a call from Human Resources. Why are you looking up dead body locations?
You'd be like, well, this is just research for my podcast here.
How about you give us the address of that podcast? No, thank you.
How about that's a real big no.
No.
That's funny.
That's the last thing I need.
Just for reference, everything was on my phone, of course.
I don't do I guess I probably do more research on my phone than my laptop. After sitting in front of a computer all day, I don't want to sit in front of my laptop and do more.
Yeah.
When we're doing ride planning and stuff, that's different.
Yeah, but if it's fun, like I enjoy some of the stuff I do on my laptop. It's fun, so I don't mind it at all because it's not. For me, it's not work related. Like it's fun.
That's true. So, if anybody has any stats, I don't know, stats probably, if they know that they've ever encountered a serial killer or know that they've driven past a dead body, comment, let us know. Yeah. We'd love to hear about it. I'm serious. We would love to hear about it.
Yeah.
You're like, that's a little creepy.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, do you want to know? Like, it's almost one of those things where it's like one thing to chat about it,
I want to know.
No, yeah, for sure. But then it's like, then when you find out, it's like, oh. You figure somebody that has a job that's like a detective or something. I'm sure they talk to.
Yeah.
What? I don't know. It'd be interesting.
It would be very interesting. So.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But, so, let us know if you have any stats. But, I mean, that's really all we wanted to chat about this evening.
Yeah. Kind of not as long of a topic.
Yeah, nice and short.
Yeah. Kind of.
Since it's a Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday, with the holiday weekend and whatnot.
Yep. Hopefully everyone had a nice Easter. Everybody that celebrates Easter. Hope you had a nice one.
It's a nice weekend for sure. Mm-hmm. We certainly did.
Spend some time with family. It's always good.
Definitely.
We should be back to a regularly scheduled programming.
This weekend.
This weekend. Don't know what the topic's going to be, but yeah.
If anybody has any ideas, you certainly please feel free to drop us a comment.
Maybe we'll talk about how Trumpy's screwed our retirement by killing 401k by $40,000.
That's the negative. The positive is RFK is in there. He's handling the die situation.
I know. But I know he's going to turn it around, but I'm frustrated right now because that's years worth of hit.
Yeah.
But we're not going to discuss that right now. So
yeah, no.
But thanks for listening. All with that, Mike and Stace signing off.
Everybody have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you this weekend. Bye.
Bye.